Hey, what's up guys, Fusionade here, and I'm back with the second episode to the PC Build Guide series. In this video, we'll be touching on a very popular price tag in today's gaming machines. The brand new Xbox One X is set to launch very soon with a price tag of $500. The Xbox One X is extremely powerful and can run modern games at the ever so popular 4K Ultra HD resolution. At that price, it would seem impossible to beat its value, right? Wrong. Today, I'm highlighting a build that will land you in the same price range as the Xbox One X while having a similar level of performance. If you think about it, this is an even better deal because of all the other benefits of PC gaming that I touched on in the last video. You know, free online play and all that. Anyway, let's stop wasting time and go straight into the build. With the CPU, I went with the AMD FX 6300 3.5 GHz 6-core processor. This is a step up from the quad-core I featured in my last build guide, and this should help with running any core-intensive games out there while allowing you to run more applications at the same time. This is especially helpful if you plan on streaming or recording game footage on your PC using applications like Fraps or NVIDIA Shadowplay. The FX 6300 has extremely high overclock potential, though overclocking your CPU isn't exactly necessary for gaming purposes. All in all, this will get the job done and you won't find another CPU below $80 that has more than 4 cores. The motherboard we're going with is fairly basic. This is the Gigabyte GA978DS3P ATX motherboard. It's a full-size motherboard, so we can't use the super cheap micro ATX cases for this build, but this is the cheapest AM3 Plus motherboard available and is still abundant with features. It contains 4 RAM slots with a maximum memory of 32 GB and has good enough onboard heat sinks to allow you to overclock your CPU should you choose to. This will only be possible with an aftermarket CPU cooler, however. Gigabyte boards are also known to be highly durable, and you shouldn't have much problems with static when building this rig. Priced at $60, you really can't go wrong. The RAM we're going with is the same as the last build, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised if we end up using this RAM in future build guide episodes, with a super low price of $57 for 8GB of RAM and only one slot of the motherboard RAM slots being used up. TeamDark's 8GB of DDR3 1600MHz memory is honestly a no-brainer. For the storage, I found that the Seagate Barracuda 1TB hard drive has the same exact specs as the ever so popular Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB drive and is priced $1 cheaper. $1 isn't exactly something to write home about, but hey, maybe you can pick up a game during the Steam Winter Sale with that dollar. The Xbox One X comes standard with the 1TB drive, so it's necessary for this build to have one. I decided I want to save the video card for last in this video because it's the most important part of the total Xbox One X destroyer, so let's move on to the case. The cheapest ATX mid-tower case I could find was the Roswell Galaxy O3. I've actually built a computer for a client before using this case, and honestly it's a really nice case. It has a sorta cool design and has a blue LED fan in the front. Honestly, you'd expect to get an extremely ugly case for the low price of $25, but that's definitely not what you're getting here. For the power supply, I went with the Roswell 450W 80+ bronze certified ATX power supply. This power supply is 80+ bronze certified, which is extremely good for reliability, and this build overall only uses up about 314 watts according to PC Part Picker, so we get some good overhead space with this part. At $33, there is not a reason to pick something else. Now, onto the best part and the part you've all been waiting for, the graphics card. So this is where things get interesting. In popular next-gen consoles like the PS4 and Xbox One, along with their even more powerful counterparts like the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, the CPU and hard drive speeds are never really anything to write home about. The CPUs are clocked fairly low, and the hard drives are very basic laptop drives. It's very easy to build a PC with a better CPU and hard drive. Even though the consoles have 8 cores, those are essentially tablet processors, and the 6 cores in this rig easily blow those out of the water. When building a console, most of the manufacturing money goes right into the GPU. The GPU is essentially the only thing that concerns anyone, and this is where it gets really interesting. Did I already say that? Anyway, the GPU I elected to go with is the Gigabyte GeForce GTX 1060. This GPU has an extremely high base clock speed of 1.56 GHz, and is basically the PC equivalent of what is found inside the Xbox One X. Go look on any popular PC gaming or tech website and they'll recommend the GTX 1060 if you're trying to match the Xbox One X. The problem, however, is that the 1060 at a price point of $200 only has 3 GB of video memory. Usually that's a great amount, but the Xbox One X features way more, and video memory is essential for 4K gaming to load things like high resolution textures and ambient occlusion. You can pay more for the 6 GB 1060, but we're trying to stick to a budget with this particular build. So this build definitely matches and even sometimes beats the Xbox One X with the 1060, but at some 4K games you might see a decrease in performance compared to the Xbox One X. Anyway, all that tech jargon aside, let's go to some benchmarks. One of the most demanding games of the past generation, Metro Last Light, is handled quite well by the GTX 1060. At 1440p ultra settings, it pulls over 60 FPS and it sits above a pretty playable 30 FPS at 4K ultra settings. This is very good, but let me show you guys an overall look at what this GPU can do at the standard 1080p, as most people nowadays honestly really have 1080p monitors and TVs. I'm going to leave this benchmark up on the screen for a little bit so you guys can take a look at each game, but this specific test shows many demanding modern games like Fallout 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and Crysis 3. All these games are played at 1080p ultra settings with an extremely powerful CPU, so there's no bottleneck to worry about. As you can tell, the GPU pulls well over 40 FPS in practically every single game, with many of them sitting at over 60 FPS. If you plan on playing games at 1080p, the GTX 1060 is all you will ever need. In terms of tackling 4K gaming, the GTX 1060 is not designed for ultra 4K gaming, as this benchmark on the screen shows. However, the Xbox One X will not be playing games at ultra settings with the 4K resolution. It'll most likely be medium, maybe high, depending on if the game is demanding. For medium to high settings, the GTX 1060 will do more than fine. And with that, we mark the end of the second episode of PC Build Guides Season 2. This Xbox One X destroyer will comprise about the same as the Xbox One X, but yes, there are pros and cons for each. With the Xbox One X, you get a working machine out of the box without having to build anything, and you can hop right into gaming without setting anything up. Also, you don't have to worry about picking the right settings to have a playable frame rate. With the PC build discussed here, however, you don't have to worry about picking up Xbox Live, and you have access to a far larger library of games. Like I said in the last episode, please keep in mind that prices are subject to change, and by the time you might be watching this video, the build could either be cheaper or more expensive. It just depends on the season and what deals might be going on. The links to the PC build and episode 1 are in the description below. Don't forget to hit that like button to support the channel, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with everything gaming, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.